So I wanted to talk today real quick about the formula we're going to be making, which is a dupe of Dr. Melaxin's Peel Shot, and it's marketed as a chemical exfoliant treatment that relies on multi-acid systems plus keratolytics, which breaks down or dissolves keratin to get visible peeling and skin renewal. So what makes a formula actually peel? Number one is a high acid load. Dr. Melaxin's uses a blend of AHAs, BHAs, and PHAs at a strong combined concentration, often like between 8 to 12%. Also a low pH, between 3.5 to 4, ensures that the acids are going to stay protonate and exfoliating. The process of protonation is crucial for understanding how acids and bases behave. Number 3, the keratolytics synergy pairing with salicylic acid with other hydroxy acids or lactobionic acid gives both surface peeling and pore level clearing. So number 4 would be like the leave-on strength. The effect builds with cumulative use. Keep in mind that at-home peel shots should stay within cosmetic limits. Total acids should be like between 10 to 12% total in a product. Patch testing is an absolute must, especially with salicylic acid. And if you lean toward professional peel levels, which are 15 to 20% acids, and a pH that's like below 3.5, that's going to cross into medical grade territory. So stay away from that. So when you're duping a benchmark, it's totally fine to substitute ingredients. You don't need every single fancy ingredient to get the function of that product. For this particular peel shot we're going to be duping today, the goal is to mimic 1, the acid system, 2, the film forming or stick effect, and 3, the mild oil phase. So with that in mind, I've added mandelic acid because it has a larger molecule, it's less irritating, but it still adds visible peeling effects. I've also added lactobionic acid for a deeper keratolytic synergy. So those 2 acids plus the salicylic acid that's already in their ingredient list, that's going to give us a triple acid system. I'm keeping the total oils at 8 to 10% max for a mild comfort effect. The actives that I've chosen make it hydrating and brightening, not just exfoliating. I've also dropped several ingredients in Melaxin's ingredient list because of redundancy. One example of that is I dropped the CCT, which is your caprylic capric triglycerides, because there's already squalane in the formula for cushion, and CCT is more emollient, making it less essential in a watery peel serum. I've also switched the polymer that they use to Sepamax Zen because it's salt tolerant, alcohol and glycol friendly, whereas Carbomer does not play well with electrolytes, so we're getting rid of that. This formula has a multi-solvent system with many glycols and penetration enhancers to solubilize the salicylic acid and the arbutin. It also has a good film forming network, which creates a light peelable gel film that makes the acids cling to the skin a little bit better. So this is what gives that tight skin peeling sheet effect. So to sum it all up, we have a strong acid system, right, with our AHAs, BHAs, and our PHAs. Number 2, we have a low pH support with our citric acid and sodium citrate, plus our ethanol to ensure that the actives remain active. And number 3, we have our film formers to give you the clingy gel texture that helps acids to sit on the skin longer. 4, we have a light oil phase, just enough to cushion irritation without blocking the acid activity. Number 5, we have a strong preservation system, very important. Number 6, we have soothing agents that are going to reduce irritation. They're going to hydrate so the skin won't feel stripped. Whew. I know this was a really lengthy intro, but I am all about education before formulation, right? So with that being said, who's ready to go over and create this peel shot? Let's go. Okay, hello again. So I know that my intro is really lengthy, but I wanted to just talk briefly about the rice bran water and the extract that I'm going to be using today in the formula. So really quick, I make my own rice bran water and rice bran extract. I make all my own extracts. Anyway, so I used rice bran solubles, not the powder, but what is rice bran soluble? So it's a water dispersible fraction derived from stabilized rice bran, and it contains like proteins, lipids, vitamins, and soluble vital nutrients. So because it's soluble, it's going to be able to disperse into serums, gels, and emulsions without leaving that grainy texture. It also helps to mimic that milky, nourishing quality of products like Dr. Melaxin's Rice Peel Shot, which is what we're trying to dupe today. Rice bran powder, on the other hand, is a finely ground powder from the outer layer of the rice grain. So it does contain fiber, starch, proteins, and residual oils. But even when you micronize that, it tends to stay particulate, which means it's not going to fully dissolve or disperse clearly in a serum. So it's less suited to clear serum-like formulations since it can settle and feel gritty. Okay, so the key differences between the rice bran solubles and the rice bran powder are that the solubles are active soluble nutrients, and the powder are physical particles, okay? So let's now get to making this rice peel shot. All right, let's just get going over here, okay? I do not have my ingredients weighed out today. That's because I'm not going to be talking in the video. I'm going to do a voiceover later because there's a crap ton of ingredients, 34 to be exact. Like I said, you don't need to include every single fancy ingredient, but I've included as many of them so that I can replicate Dr. Melaxin's product as best I can. So without further ado, we're just going to get started. Again, I'm going to be doing a voiceover so you will know what I'm doing each step of the way. I will tell you that the very first thing I'm going to be doing is taking my glycerin and my hydroxyethyl cellulose, and I'm going to make a slurry and set that aside so that can start dissolving. Other than that, I'm just going to get going, okay? So here we go. Okay, like I said, I'm going to start off by adding my HEC to the glycerin to form a smooth slurry. This is going to build our gel structure and gives that clinging peel shot film. So give that a really good mix. And then set that aside. Next, I'm going to be working with my glycols and ethanol with my exfoliating acids and set that aside so that they can start dissolving. So the first up is going to be our salicylic acid, which is our BHA. That's going to clear the pores and provide that true peeling action. You want to give this a really good mix, and it's going to take several minutes. It took me between like 3 to 4 minutes to mix that SA into the ethanol. And then you wind up with a very crystal clear solution, just like this. Next, we're going to be adding our mandelic acid, which is a larger molecule AHA. That exfoliates more gently, but it still gives visible results. So both of these acids were dissolving in the ethanol, which not only keeps them clear, but also adds to that sharp peel shot sensation. Give that another good mix, but don't worry if the mandelic acid doesn't fully dissolve in this phase of the production. Once you add it to the main aqueous phase later on, it's going to have the time it needs to fully dissolve. For additional solvent powder, I'm going to be adding propanediol, dipropylene glycol, and butylene glycol. All of these are going to keep our acids dissolved and help them to penetrate evenly. This is also part of hurdle technology. So if you're not familiar with that, I have a full blog post at soapchefblog.com. Check that out. Lots of good information there. It's not just your preservation system that you have to work with as far as hurdle technology is concerned. Glycols play an important role as well by reducing the water activity, so that your preservatives have a fighting chance to kill all the nasties. All right, give your active phase a real nice stir. Again, don't be too concerned with that mandelic acid. It'll take care of itself later on. Next, we're going to be working with our distilled water, a universal solvent that allows all of our water-soluble actives to blend in seamlessly. To that, we're going to be adding niacinamide, one of the most popular skincare ingredients. It brightens, strengthens the skin barrier, and helps offset irritation that acids can sometimes cause. To this formula, I'm going to be adding some disodium EDTA to keep it stable. It's a chelating agent that binds metals and prevents discoloration. We're going to be adding citric acid and sodium citrate, which work together as a buffer to hold our pH right around 3.8 to 4, which is the sweet spot for exfoliation. We're going to be adding some alpha-arbutin, a brightener that works beautifully with niacinamide to target uneven tone and dark spots. Give that a really good stir. We're going to put that in a water bath. Make sure that your water is not above 104 degrees. We do not want to compromise the alpha-arbutin or the niacinamide, which are heat sensitive. So make sure that your temps are below 104. Only put this in there for a few seconds to help dissolve the powders until you have a crystal clear solution. Just like that. All right, so now that we've got all of those individual water phase ingredients going, let's talk about the rice bran water. So this is a base of our peel shot packed with antioxidants that calm and protect the skin. As I said right before we hit Creation Station, I make my own using rice bran solubles. I already went over that they contain proteins, lipids, vitamins, and soluble phytonutrients. All right, so you add that water solution with your actives, right? You add that to the rice bran water, give it a good stir. Next, we're going to be adding the saccharide isomerate, which is also known as 72H moisture. You can get that at Making Cosmetics. It's a hydration booster that binds to the skin like a magnet for lasting moisture. To that aqueous phase, we're going to be adding gluconolactone, which is a gentle PHA that hydrates while it exfoliates. Then we're going to be adding lactobionic acid, another PHA that's antioxidant rich and gentle for sensitive skin. Give everything there a really good stir. Then you're going to check your pH. I did not do this on camera. I did it off camera, but make sure you check your pH to ensure that we're within the correct range for all of those acids. We're going to be aiming for a 3.5 to 4 pH and adjust everything if necessary using your citric acid solution. After you've done that, you're going to add your Sepamax Zen, which stabilizes everything and helps suspend our oils, solvents, and actives. Just sprinkle it on the top and then give it a good stir for several minutes. It's going to be lumpy and clumpy because we haven't left it alone yet to hydrate and swell. See the lumps? That's normal. So by this time, your glycerin slurry has been dissolved. So we're going to go ahead and add that to the aqueous phase to hydrate. Next, we're going to be adding in that solution of actives that we just set aside. Give it a good stir, and then we're just going to leave this overnight so that the Sepamax Zen has a chance to do its thing. Again, don't worry about that mandelic acid not being fully dissolved yet. That water in the aqueous phase is going to help to do that. And then just cover it, give it a good stir, cover it, and leave it. Okay, it's the next day. You can see that the Sepamax Zen has fully hydrated and has swollen. The texture is completely different than it was the day before. Everything is looking really nice. We're going to start working on our oil phase now. Okay, so to balance the formula, I'm going to be adding a small oil phase, starting off with PEG7 glyceryl cocoate, which helps solubilize the oils and adds silkiness, followed by ethylhexyl palmitate, which provides the slip, and squalane cushions the skin. Remember what I said in the intro about keeping your oil phase small. So all of those previous ingredients are stabilized by Olivem 1000. Plus we're adding a small amount of cream maker stearate. You can get that at Making Cosmetics. Both of those help to emulsify and keep everything uniform. Go ahead and stick that in your water bath to melt that oil phase. And while we're waiting for the oil phase to melt, we're going to start with our cool down phase. For preservation, I'm using the modern Hurdle system, which is 1,2-hexanediol, caprylyl glycol, and phenoxyethanol. So together, they ensure that the product is going to stay safe and protected. All part of Hurdle technology. Now for the finishing touches, I'm going to be adding bakuchiol, which brings antioxidant and anti-aging power, complementing exfoliation with renewal. Rice bran extract, which I make myself using the rice bran solubles, enhances the rice bran water base. And then I'm going to be adding a bunch of extracts like green tea, chamomile, and cacao extracts. They're all going to calm and protect the skin from irritation. Again, I make all my extracts myself using a 1:5 ratio. All right, finally, we're going to be adding hyaluronic acid 4D, which hydrates on multiple levels of the skin, keeping the peel shot from being drying. I've used this a couple of times before. I want to say there's probably one video. I think I made a hyaluronic acid 4D peptide serum, which you can find on the channel. All right, give your oil phase a little swoosh there. Turn that heat off. Should be melted by now. And we're just going to be adding a touch of fragrance to make the experience more enjoyable. I would highly recommend only using essential oils, not fragrance oils. And if you want to leave this unscented, absolutely leave it unscented. Okay, our oil phase is now melted down. We're going to be using a homogenizer today. I don't know what I did before I ever got this homogenizer. It's a complete game changer. It is not like a stick blender. Completely different. Go ahead and add that oil phase to your water phase. Give it a little bit of a stir. Then we're going to be adding that cool down phase. And we're going to use that homogenizer for 30 to 60 seconds. You don't do the homogenizer for minutes and minutes and minutes like you do with a stick blender. And it does make all the difference, let me tell you. It really does. The end result is a balanced peel shot, which is exfoliating, brightening, hydrating, and soothing all in one. The texture is beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous. Very nice texture. So all that's left to do now is to bottle it. If you have trouble pouring it into your bottle, just use a plastic syringe. I wouldn't use a pipette. I don't know. I don't prefer using a pipette. It's very, very messy. It's hard to get the tip of the pipette down in there, and I don't know. It's just a disaster. So use a syringe if you're having trouble. Beautiful. Look at that. Gorgeous bottle, too. And let's take a look at the final texture of this. Very nice for a peel shot. Very nice gel serum. Stay tuned for final thoughts, though. I do have some. Okay, so these are my final thoughts on the Dr. Melaxin's Peel Shot. Honestly, after extensive research, I think that it's being marketed, it's a little bit misleading the way that it's being marketed. It's not your dead skin magically peeling away. What you're actually seeing is the product itself balling up, creating those little particles that give you the illusion of a peel. And yes, those particles can still give you a gentle exfoliation, but it's not the dramatic skin peeling off, that the marketing suggests. At the end of the day, it's about knowing what you're really buying and understanding how these formulas work. I hope this breakdown helped to clear up some of that confusion. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more honest looks behind the marketing of trendy products, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so that you don't miss what's coming up next. You can find the full formula along with Rice Bran Soluble's preservative cheat sheet, plus a lengthy explanation of rice bran versus rice powder, which includes recipes to make your own rice bran water and extract, all in downloadable docs. These are going to be on my Patreon at the $10 Formula Friend tier level for advanced makers. That's going to do it for today. Until we meet again, I'm out of here.